It's the Chartographers.
Listen to the Chartographers. It's a music loving podcast.
Oh man!
For music loving people, we take every single album, rank it worst to first, and we did it. We did it for Tom Petty.
Wow.
We actually ranked all 16 of his albums across 2 parts. It was really fun. I had a great time doing it. I was so excited to do it. It was me, Evan Sadi. It was co-creator Taran O'Reilly. It was special guest, wonderful person, and crab enthusiast Nico Pashka. All here in studio, and it's great. And here's the thing: we got a lot of Tom Petty stuff to talk about. It's the Happy Hour Minisode. It's free falling. We do whatever we feel like. But most importantly, though, we need to start the Happy Hour Minisode with the thing we start with every time. Oh, guys, guess what? What is the worst Tom Petty song? So here's the thing. When it comes to worst Tom Petty song, initially in the week, I wasn't sure if I was going to have a nomination, but then 2, I can't choose.
Of course you can.
I can't choose now because there's 2. There's Joe off of The Last DJ, and there's Don't Pull Me Over off of fucking Mojo. His fucking music industry, I'm a big old fucking badass, whatever type parody that doesn't work.
Strange.
I mean, Weird Al's done parodies, I'm just saying. And then there's, of course, the reggae song about not being pulled over by the cops. It's just like, Tom Petty, I mean, you have cocaine in your life, but come on. So, you know.
I'm trying to find it on I don't remember what album it's off of, but there's a song called Accused of Love.
Yes, I think that's off
it's off of Echo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the lyrics of that are so... Echo has 2 of the worst songs. Accused of Love and fucking Rhino Skin.
I was going to say Rhino Skin is my vote for
With his
sure.
fucking elephant balls.
It's really bizarre.
I
I don't even know what
how.
to make of it.
It's like a B-side that they're just like, oh, fuck it, we'll just put it on the album. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I still remember Climb the Hill always was interesting, where it's just like the line about, oh girl, you're just a pretty doll, I want to climb your garden walls. And it's just like, oh Tom, you randy motherfucker. But then again, like, he plays such a weirdo. He is a hat aficionado, as we discussed recently.
Yeah, we just saw it. We watched a couple videos in the break.
Don't Come Around Here No More and Running Down a Dream. He just loves his fucking hats,
He
man.
does, and he wears them really well, though.
He does.
No, he does. He looks good.
Well, because he has that long blonde hair of a creepy hat man. So...
But he looks like a rock star. I think that I think that when I look at Tom Petty, he makes it look so cool. Like, I don't know what's like...
pretty effortless.
Yeah, no.
Well, the biggest thing about him is that he loves the camera.
He's so genuine, though. I think that's Tom Petty. Like, when you see him on stage, when you see him being goofy, when you see him in The Postman, like... That's just Tom Petty. Like, he's just so genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little kooky. It's a little creepy sometimes. But that's the dude.
And sometimes it's a little serious, too. I read this thing I remembered it and I had to look it up just now again, about how he, especially because there were some Confederate statues that came down in 2015 in the post-fucking, everyone's racist rhetoric. And he did a whole thing about how he regrets how during the Southern Accents tour he had performed in front of a Confederate flag. For a lot of that too, and like he did it and he felt weird about it because the very first song on that album, Rebels, is kind of from the perspective of someone who's upset that his traditions are being removed. But then during that tour, like afterwards, people started like wearing Confederate flag shit, and at one point someone threw a Confederate flag like on stage for him to like have as a token, and he went on a whole rant about it. And he talks about how when they did their live album, I think it's called Live from the Plantation.
Yes,
And they initially put it out. I guess the back photo was the band performing in front of the Confederate flag. And he went back, and it would cost them a lot of money, but they redid that entire album cover to be like, not have the Confederate flag on there, because he just realized it was a dumb idea. He was a kid growing up in Florida. He didn't know the meaning behind it. It was just a thing he saw a lot, and he was just like, nope, this is dumb. And I love that, Tom Petty, who really is kind of a spokesperson for the South, like, he was just like, this is stupid, guys. I'm sorry, I regret that.
He definitely has a lot of strong feelings about something, and when he believes in it and he wants it to happen, it's going to happen. Like the album prices, right?
And he won't back down.
Yeah, he won't. And I think he fits that role so well. I think there was an interview and they talked about he had a lot of angst and he had a lot of stuff and trauma from his childhood, and you can either like let that destroy you or it lets you fuel you. And he's like, that's what it did for me. And he's like, so I've always just sort of had problems with authority and sort of kind of questioning everything. again, it's that punk rock, kind
of sensibility.
Yeah.
Right, which I think, and that's the biggest thing when he did the Damn Torpedoes thing, when he was renegotiating his contract with the MCA, and eventually they filed for bankruptcy, which allowed him to renegotiate the contract. The thing is, they basically played the music industry's hand because they kept hinting at the idea of what they were sitting on was a hot album. The thing is, the label hadn't heard any of these things; they were holding them hostage, but they're just we gotta fuck it. We got bangers.
I think
out
this
here,
was the album. I'm pretty sure it was. This is the album where, during all these legal problems that were happening, they got wind that their tapes could be subpoenaed, so that at any moment the FBI could just show up and confiscate everything. And so this is totally the album. So then they started relabeling all the spools at the end of the night with a different album name. And then they got so paranoid, they hired somebody to take the spools home at night in 2 separate locations so that the FBI could never get this. I mean, it's also 1978, 79, so there's a lot of drugs and paranoia and government stuff, but still, I think you're right. I think they knew they were sitting on something pretty special.
Yeah, and they played, and eventually the label folded. Fine, whatever, give us your best shot, and it worked beautifully for them.
I actually think the way it worked out was really kind of magical, because I think it was you can have anything you want, you just have to put it out with us, and I think that's such a that's the ultimate will not back down. It's I just played you so hard.
Which is why when he did the pricing war thing with the $1 change for his hard promises, he talked about he won that battle too, but he also wondered at what cost, because he got a lot of the cold shoulders after that, where it's just okay, we put your album at a regular price, you wanted to charge more. It was just but the thing is that he was fine with that too. He realized the record industry was getting fucking greedy, which is why eventually, and we heard the Hit Parade podcast, the Chris Malamphy one on Slate, where during the 90s especially, if you had a hot single, remember the top Hot 100 only counted CD if it was available as a commercial retail, which is why songs like fucking Don't Speak by No Doubt never went on the charts, because they never put it out as a commercial single. It was on the radio play.
And that's also fueled sales of the album. Why that went
Where can I get the song? Where can I get the song?
Is because it's the only place to hear the song was it was getting played on radio, but the only place you could buy it was to buy the whole CD.
Which is why 1999, 2000, that's when CDs were $18.99 if you wanted to get a new one for a single CD, which is just wackadoo when you think about it now. That was them getting into...
You've been liking that word today.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing is because the record industry got greedy, they got their money out of it, but then Napster comes along, you can't control that shit. That opened the floodgates, and just love that.
Even... you brought up Napster. I think it was the first single off of, I want to say, Highway Companion. Saving Grace was a free download, and it was one of the first ones to do that.
Of a major label artist like that, yeah. That's cool. That's good. But, here's the other great thing about Tom Petty is that he was really good about spreading his brand around. Because, when you get Tom Petty to write a song, he writes a very specific song. But the cool thing about Tom Petty, he didn't mind sharing a little bit. So, of course, there is Stop Dragging My Heart Around, the song off of the fucking Stevie Nicks album, Belladonna, which is
one of his best.
Yes!
It's such good chemistry. It's a really well-timed and placed and produced, but also kind of... Yeah. Yeah,
they harmonize very well.
It's cool. No, it's hot. It's hot.
Because, and you mentioned it during the part 1 episode where Stevie Nicks mentioned how she would have loved to have been a heartbreaker, and I feel even in the VH1 we watched about that behind the music, she mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
If I could have joined, I would have, at that time, which is just so crazy.
Yeah, no, they were definitely 2 peas in a pod. I think we've talked about just kind of how Tom's a little more rock and roll, and they're a little bit more lyrical Southern kind of blues. But yeah.
But then, of course, there was the Traveling Wilburys too, which was him and Bob Dylan and Jeff Lynne and George Harrison and Roy Orbison all together.
And I feel because that Traveling Wilburys album went, I think, 2 times platinum.
3 times platinum, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the line.
And had charted songs that charted pretty well.
It's sort of when Mumford & Sons had their little moment. I think that it was a very similar little blip in the radar at that time in the 80s, where that more
old
steam car trunk.
Folk, yeah.
And it had, like, it's a similar little jolt. And so I think it was, like, just nostalgic enough for people back then, too. Because that got played a lot. The thing I liked about that particular little side project was that he is not prominent in that at all. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he's so content.
Roy Orbison is taking center stage a lot, and like so is Bob Dylan. And,
right? Like, how are you number one?
And Bob Dylan wrote like a fucking Springsteen rip on that album. Like, it was just like goofy, and that was the biggest thing where like all these superstars to get together. Normally, when you think supergroup, it's got to be a big fucking thing, and he was just like they just got together, they had fun, and I think that's part of the reason that
it's like it feels so casual for having that many like mega stars in the same room. It's also funny because there is definitely, like, it's a super group, but there's different levels of fame, very much so at that point. And I think it's very fascinating how that started Tom Petty's biggest period, because that was 1988. And that's like how he started working with Jeff Lynne. And then the next year they put out Full Moon Fever, which is still Tom Petty's highest selling album at 6 times platinum.
Outside of his greatest hits.
Well, outside of his greatest hits. But then that started, like, and then Traveling Wilburys Volume 3 came out after that, and then Into the Great Wide Open, and Wildflowers. It was this period that was, like, launched by him being in Traveling Wilburys, because it sort of, in the public's consciousness, I feel like, suddenly put him on the same level as George Harrison, as Roy Orbison, as these legends, and he was then he was a legend.
I think he kind of got the blessing. I think that he definitely looked up to those guys.
One
of my favorite little clips from the documentary was the period where he was basically Bob Dylan's backup band for those tours, and Tom was reflecting on how he really looked up to Bob and was trying to learn from them, and every show they went out there was a little bit different. He's like, that's what I learned, was just to go out there and still just sort of play in the moment. And then they cut to this clip where they're going into a Bob Dylan song, and Tom and the band are sort of going the way they've always gone, and Bob's playing the harmonica, and he puts his arm out behind him and like to say like, no, slow. Stay with me. And you see Tom kind of get down low and just try to get on the same level. And so I think it built so much confidence in him that those albums did. They just kind of poured out, because he had this like he went into it in a very vulnerable way, and I think it paid off.
Which I think needed to happen, because I think it was around the time, I think after Damn the Torpedoes came out, they had the band meeting where Tom Petty basically let everyone know, it's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I'm Tom Petty, deal with it. Because like some of the other band members, especially the drummer Stan, were kind of like upset with like, well, Tom's always dictating stuff, and him and Mike are always writing the songs, but like, it's the Tom Petty show.
Well, and he had a huge problem with there being a solo album that then he was asked to play on tour. Like, I'm not good enough for the record, but I'll be your backing band on the tour. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in your band. Right. What do you mean you're not going to use me?
Yeah.
And so that's why he ended up quitting in the mid-90s, because he was just done with being...
animosity.
Because especially after Wildflowers came out, he was like, I feel like I'm in a cover band of Tom Petty songs.
Right, I don't even like the music I'm playing.
Right.
Yeah.
I also, just one last point on this, I think it's interesting to see, just adding to that timeline, the Bob Dylan tour, where they were Bob Dylan's backing band, because after that was what caused the switch to going from full production to just the band itself on Let Me Up, I've Had Enough. But then that wasn't the success that he wanted it to be, and I think that's also what then drove him to explore other avenues of collaborators, of doing the Traveling Wilburys and then doing a solo record, because, he'd been playing as the Heartbreakers for a decade at this point, and it had become a little stagnant.
But I also love that he still contributed songs. One of my favorite songs is that when he gave You Got It to fucking Roy Orbison after the Traveling Wilburys. Anything you want, you got it. And it's got those do vocals in the background. And like, it's one of the things, like, it's just classic Tom Petty. It's generic, it's hummable on first listen, like, it's catchy.
It's a cowboy with a guitar. It's fucking Elvis.
Yeah.
It's him, Elvis.
I feel like that's the biggest thing with him and Roy Orbison.
Full Elvis.
Full circle for him. Like, this is him.
Roy Orbison was as close as he was going to get to actually being with Elvis. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
For
fair.
sure.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. But of course, also Mary Jane's Last Dance off of the Greatest Hits album.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
such a fucking great.
It's so funny that is what it is, given that I think we said it before, the song that he like was forced to put on there. They were like, all of your favorite songs here plus one new song. You have to write this thing. And it just sort of came out of there. And it is, I think, the most recognizable Tom Petty song out there. Like, that's the one I think people...
More than Freefall?
Yes. Yes. Like, honestly, like, Google search Tom Petty, like, t-shirts.
Yeah.
And quotes from Mary Jane's Last Dance is, like,
Yeah.
8 out of 10 the thing you're going to see across the front.
Well, but it's also funny because I just feel like that was the era of where, like, graphic tees were becoming such a thing.
Well, and it's also kind of, it has illicit undertones, so,
right.
Why not? But yes, no, absolutely. I love that song. I think it's fun to sing. I think if you're drunk and doing karaoke, you can definitely
I
belt that
also
out
like
a little
it.
bit.
I like it because it pulls back those, like, it's the same style of harmony vocals that we got on the first record. Like that very breezy, sheen, tight vocal stab.
Mm-hmm. And the other thoughts, story? I mean, you watched the whole 4-hour documentary.
No, it was so good. Again, if you have time to kill in a hotel room, if you're on the road and you need to kill 4 hours,
Are there any, like, essential stories from it?
Well, again, I think the whole bit about him versus the record labels was really interesting because it was very public. The later people got in that, like, I think had a Rolling Stone cover, right, that he did.
Tom Petty Goes to War.
But it was just, he was one of the first people to really sort of take that on. And so in many ways, he was, many people's Bruce Springsteen. So that whole bit was really just kind of fascinating to see how he took a big chance. I think changed the record industry. Like, it's Tom Petty's fault that, now people really read contracts before they sign them. And then I think just not to use a phrase that's sort of been like trash now, but it's like a good old boy's story, like a coming of age. Like there's a certain amount of like Stand By Me, like quality to just watching him start this band when he's like 19 and it became his life. Like he had this was what he was destined to do. Tom Petty was supposed to be a rock star. He was supposed to be all-American. Like he did it. He is quintessential American rock and roll. Period.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't know about you, but if I ever formed a band and I got to soundtrack a Jennifer Aniston, Cameron Diaz movie, I would have been so happy with my life.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? So, we watched the trailer and holy shit, what a piece of garbage. There's no way he read the script before agreeing to soundtrack it.
No. But remember, his house burnt down at some point. And
yes.
So he had to, like, make some more money somehow. So maybe that's what happened.
Okay, that's
You got some Hollywood money.
But but see, his house burned down also during the Traveling Wilburys era. So that was, like, oh my gosh, during the Behind the Music. It's funny because on the one hand, it's like, it's true, this is probably what he wrote these songs about, but there were so many moments where they were like, this terrible thing happened. Or like, he was like, he won his lawsuit, and then it's even the losers get lucky sometimes. And then it's like, his house burnt down and he was living out of a hotel room, and then it's like, and I'm free! And it's like, oh, it's so on the nose, but literally that is probably part of what inspired this song. So, okay. It was funny because I'm thinking of it from like a movie soundtrack standpoint, where it's like, if that was coming on in like the Tom Petty movie, I'd be rolling my eyes, but it's real life. This was his life.
Tom Petty also did a guest spot on The Simpsons, right? And so the bit is, it's the boys' summer camp for, mature men, and it's like rock star camp. And so Tom Petty runs a lyric writing clinic, and they're sitting around a campfire, and he starts writing a more, ballady song, and the crowd is like, boo! And he flips the guitar over, and it's an electric guitar, and he starts singing one of those songs. And so I don't know, I think he's not afraid to poke fun at himself too a little bit, which is also,
or be a creepy hat wearing weirdo in all his music videos.
He's got a bit of a,
which is so funny because when you're watching like live videos of him, that's not what you see. He's being like cool rock star, but in the music videos when he's making the art,
Yeah.
as it were.
Because
That's
like,
what
I'm
he's
a
like.
fucking weirdo. Yeah.
Yes.
And like
With his creepy little smile.
Oh yeah, no, he's totally got a crew. He's got game. We also just watched the refugee video where he's a little bit younger, and if he trimmed his hair up a little bit, he could be like a really good looking lesbian. When like and kind of like winking, like a little Justin Bieber, like winking and like kissing with the camera. Like he's definitely
Well, but except the thing is that Nico kind of spoiled her hand a little bit. She talked about who her ideal boyfriend would be, which is Ben Mont
Oh yeah,
French.
I think I want to be Tom Petty, right? And then I think I would be with Benmont. I just think that he's a little exacting and a little nerdy, and I think he's very like musically inclined. Like he's the guy who probably actually took music classes and like was taught versus
that's usually
Tom Petty
players.
taught himself how to play the guitar. But that's the kind of person I would end up with.
And then, I mean, as we noted in those early videos, it's pretty obvious to us that Mike Campbell is literally just 3 kids in a trench coat. How that works.
But seriously, like even in the 90s, you see Mike Campbell in the video, and you're like, "Who let this child in here?" But he's
such a
already
baby little
like
boy.
almost 50 at that point.
No, he's kind of timeless. His hair changes so much era to era, but he's like got baby face. You see interviews with him now, and you're like, "What moisturizer are you using?"
So I found out the reason why I went from Traveling Wilburys Volume 1 to Volume 3. I thought it was in tribute to the fact that Roy Orbison passed away between the 2 album sessions, but no, apparently because there were supergroups, so many bootlegs were coming out of their concerts, and so many of them were called Volume 2, that the band got wind of this, and they're just like, well, our album's going to be called Volume 3. That was their own little kind of like, poking fun at whatever bullshit, for that reason. So there's that.
That sounds about right.
I know, but most importantly, though, Nico, I'm not sure if you have. We heard one song, and I didn't really feel the need to go any further. Mudcrutch.
Oh my gosh.
Have you heard anything? Have you heard those albums?
That was really cute too.
Okay.
In the documentary, they had this festival. Did you guys know about
Mudcrutch
that?
Festival. It was at the farm.
Yeah, so it definitely looks like something. Ironically, I think people would do in Wisconsin. It felt like a very Wisconsin thing to do. But they,
I've been to a music festival in a barn.
I think it's
Who
really.
did you see there?
Guster.
I mean.
But they did. They showed because they were living in this house with a bunch of land down in Florida, and I guess Gainesville is half like college town, half farming community, and so they just had this big piece of property, and they knocked down a bunch of trees and made an open space, and then they did it like year after year, and it got bigger and bigger. They had to get like permits and stuff. But that definitely is the more jam band. I think they kind of shied away from that sound a little bit. When he kind of became the Heartbreakers.
But they reunited in 2008, or at least brought those guys together and recorded kind of a sludgy, late era Tom Petty's
I feel like
kind of
somebody
album.
Somebody called Tom really late at night and was like, "Tom, we need to talk.
Yeah.
I need some of that money."
And it's one of those like some
It's shitty down here in Florida.
some critics were like, it's nice to hear Tom Petty reinvigorated, and I'm like, it sounds like a fucking late era Tom Petty album. I don't know what you guys are like going on.
Well, that's.
about,
I mean, that was all over from Echo onwards. Every time I'd see like an A- review, and I'm like, "Are we listening to the same album?"
Are we listening? You gave this to Echo? Really?
You gave like Echo has like decent reviews. Echo has like an 80% Metacritic, and I'm like,
You realize Rhino Skin is on this album,
Yeah, no.
right?
If you listen to them disjointed, like if you listen to a bunch of music from 1999, shuffle it all up, it lessens the blow. I guarantee it. That's why. But I think when you put it into this catalog, then you're like, what were you doing?
Right.
What happened? But yeah, I think if you buried Echo and other music from 1999, it wouldn't be quite
as jarring.
Because
punches
also, as I pointed out to Taran, the Echo album cover, very alternative rock band from the 90s. It has a fucking logo for Echo. It's like
it's like the top and bottom of the ER era is going this way, and then the middle part of
That's
the E is
such
going
a
in the back.
90s
Oh my
band
gosh,
thing.
yes.
Right,
I
and
just
they're-
saw Foo Fighters and they have like 40 different things that they use with the Fs. It's hilarious.
But and then they're all like standing behind like some branches.
Do you want to know a fun fact about that?
What?
The guy who is the heroin addict,
Howie Epstein,
who died,
he
didn't make it to the photo shoot, and Tom was like, "Fuck it, he's not here. This is his punishment." And as ultra punishment, I'm picking a shot for the cover that you're not in. So I was like, that's the one Tom Petty asshole thing I knew about.
Yeah.
And, tell us some more Tom
Oh,
Petty
I mean, the
assholes.
biggest thing was the band meeting where he was just declared himself ruler and king.
I mean, but that also just, like, makes sense.
Yeah, and also him getting fucking frustrated as fuck and punching the wall during the Hard Promises
That's
mixing
badass.
sessions. Yeah.
He's certainly not the biggest asshole we've covered.
No.
David Byrne.
Or Prince.
Oh my god, well, Prince was a fucking...
Well, I think
He was shrewd, though. He knew how to, like, make his business a thing. Like, oh, I'm going to give you the song for your album, and they work on it, and they rejigger it, and he's like, that song's too good for you, I'm taking it back, and it's Kiss. You know, like, he just was that asshole, you know? Like, he just, did that frequently.
I don't think that was shrewd, I think that was just dickish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, anyway.
Yeah.
they digress.
Yeah, the shrewd, dickish.
That's another one. Speaking of Prince,
yeah.
if you want to watch something that just, like, gets you going, watch that
Oh,
George
yeah.
Harrison tribute.
Or you mean the rock and roll induction ceremony?
Oh, yes.
That has Danny Harrison and Steve Winwood and Jeff Lynne and
So
Tom
good.
Petty and Prince all doing My Guitar Gently Weeps.
And it's not competitive. Like, you really feel like they're all trying
They're
to
all
jam.
just having a great
They're
time.
jamming.
No. I feel like it's not competitive, but then Prince shows up and everyone's like, you know what?
No. Prince is on the... If you watch, Prince is on the stage the whole time. He's just hiding in the shadows.
Uh-huh.
You can see his hat, speaking of hats, bouncing around in the background.
Yeah, and he's still strumming, but he knows it's not his.
It's not
part.
Prince time.
It's not his part yet.
But when it's Prince time,
It's
strap
fucking
the
Prince.
fuck in.
You know, he does his whole like guitar cock thing,
Right.
and then after he slays the guitar solo so much that Danny Harrison is like cracking up, like laughing at
He just
him with
can't
how
believe- and
he's just giggling at how incredible the guitar solo happening in front of him is. And then as the song finishes, Prince just casually takes off his guitar strap, throws the guitar up into the air. Who knows where it lands?
Never
and then
hits the ground.
walks off stage.
Yeah, no, doesn't walk off stage.
He bounces off stage.
He struts. He's just like, I killed that.
well,
shit.
he's wearing like 3-inch heels.
Yeah,
So
but also like but Tom Petty's looking at him during that performance, and sometimes Prince, when he like leans back too far, and you could see someone in the crowd like actually pushing him back onto stage, but like Tom Petty's looking at him and he's smiling. He's like, I get it, dude. Like he's the whole time there. At this point, he's an elder statesman of rock music, and he's just like, I'm with
And
you.
I think that's why Tom Petty is more of a like lovable loser of like rock and roll. I don't think he's a Robert Plant. I don't think that he's like that kind of like dripping sexuality, but there is something so sensual about Tom Petty. Like there just really is.
Well, have you
yeah,
seen the
he's
cover
the
of
boy
the
next door.
debut album? Those cheekbones?
Ah.
Oh, God. Chisel
he's
them.
trying so hard to be sexy on that album cover.
Yeah.
on the first couple.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the album cover to Damn the Torpedoes.
Yeah.
He's like, look at how hot I am with this guitar on me.
Yeah.
And, like, you still look like a teenage gargoyle, you know? Like, it's still, but you know what? We're down with it. And it's great. And we love him.
Yeah.
I know. How affected were you when you found out he died?
I think it was really sad. I think because I really felt like Tom Petty was going to go on forever. I mean,
Right.
there was no kind of...
There was no warning signs?
You know, and he's... Again, his band and his, like, reputation was never, like, you guys do a bunch of blow or you're into drugs or, like...
Although, watching the music videos that we did, those were all trippy as fuck.
Yeah.
Sure,
Like,
but
someone
it's not
ate
like,
something
right,
at some
but
point.
Again, he wasn't constantly in the news for multiple trips
Right.
to rehab
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
even his like divorce situations were modest. Like
yeah, they were amicable.
he
yeah.
wasn't
A
he didn't
rabble-rousing
strike me as like a
controversy.
full tilt kind of
Yeah.
guy, like burning his candle at both ends kind of a guy. So
Yeah.
I really I thought we had a little bit more time left with Tom, and so yeah, it was pretty I think it was hard, especially because of the era when everyone was starting, like it was, you know, Bowie and Prince, and it just again, like if we're equating them to like the 12 disciples of like fucking rock and roll and music and spirituality, like it's been a rough couple of years for
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, we keep having new episode ideas, because we're like, well, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're not going to put out any more albums.
Yes, Aretha Franklin, you know, yeah.
Right.
Exactly, which happened 2 days prior to us, or 3 days before we recorded this episode, and was very sad. But yeah, I mean, Tom Petty's death again was just so unexpected. And the worst part I remember when it came out was the fact that like he was in the hospital. People prematurely determined he was dead before he actually died. And so there was like a 12-hour cycle of like, guys, he's not actually dead. He's just in the intensive care. And then eventually he did pass. But it was just like this weird cycle of like, I don't know if Tom Petty's dead or not. It was just like frustrating. And it was odd. But like, it was just, again, like between that and Prince and Bowie, like people that feel like they were from the same generation to all leave us so quickly. And George Michael. You know, like it was just so stunning and shocking and just weird. But yeah, and so the weird thing, I mean, the one odd thing about it though is that when someone dies, their legacy is secured, and like we can look back at it because there was a finite conclusion to it. And it's just, and for me it was interesting because honestly I didn't know a lot of Tom Petty going into this week. I knew the hits, I knew the big singles, I knew a couple of the albums maybe, but like to find out all the nuances and all the weirdness and all the other like things on there, it was so gratifying for me. And finding Full Moon Fever in full was just a joy. It really, really was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I was expecting this, but I do think that this is one of those episodes where, like, I suddenly have a new favorite artist. Like, there are so many incredible songs here that I just, like... It's definitely... It's changed my pantheon a little bit.
And there are some artists we've done where, like, the week we're done, I'm like, I don't need to listen to this artist for a while. Not with Tom Petty.
I mean, there's a good, like, 2 handfuls of Tom Petty songs where I want to add them to my normal rotation, you know?
Any other last minute thoughts, Nico?
No, I did the same thing. I know the body of work, and I have the greatest hits that I play in
Mojo,
my
which
car.
is the greatest hits album in and of itself.
No, Mojo is going to come. It's going to be on vinyl. It's going to be delightful. But I also, this week, downloaded a couple of songs that were just randos off some albums that I didn't, like, fall in love with, and they're just going to end up in a heavier rotation than not. But it's very likely that it's pretty well known I don't do karaoke. I'm not afraid to sing, but I feel very anxious for people who are up there. I think my first karaoke song would be a Tom Petty song.
Which one?
You know...
Don't come around here no
I mean, if I could, right?
Give it up. Stop.
I do think it would be, just because it's kind of in my range, Refugee, probably.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be a good... That's a
yeah,
good
right?
karaoke
And
song.
so when it happens, just know that that's...
And for me, we all know my karaoke song. Mary's got a brand new car.
Oh, no, come on. Rhino Skin all the way.
Well, Nico, I mean this... Thank you so much. I'm actually really glad we went on this journey together.
Oh, yeah,
It
no,
was so much fun.
it's mutual love.
Yeah. Taran, thank you. It was
My
nice.
pleasure.
Yeah, Taran was a great counterpoint all week, though. We got to have some great discussions and debates, and the best part, honestly, my favorite part is about any episode we do is when I'm arguing something with Taran, and I'm, like, feeling out the argument as I'm speaking to him, because I'm so passionate, and, like, as I argue, it becomes a lot more articulate as to why I feel that way. That's, like, my favorite part, to have that receptor there, to be like, yeah. And then I hear some of that later in the episode, too, where, like, it's just great.
Yeah, we can try out the arguments.
Yeah.
We
Audition
can
them.
cut this part.
Okay. All right, well, guys, if you let us know, if you wouldn't mind in the comments, let us know what your favorite karaoke Tom Petty song is. We would love to know. If you would have loved a Heartbreaker solo album, you don't. It's fine. But most importantly, though, please do that. Like us on Facebook. Get a hold of us. That's ourchographers@gmail.com. Let us know. We're going to give Nico some CD album giveaways as part of her joining here. We're going to give her a little swag bag. It's going to be
I'm
great.
putting these albums into my purse, as we speak.
And she's just rating the whole collection. It's great. And most importantly, guys, thank you so much for listening. Keep on listening. You know that we'll be. Have a good one. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cover up here.
Give it